Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good day. So we proceed to chapter 5, that is process strategies and layout decisions. This chapter consists of two parts. The first one is process strategies, which you can see in chapter 5 in the textbook. And the second one is layout decisions, which is available in chapter 7 in the textbook. Okay, the learning outcomes for this chapter is, first is to define process strategies. Second, explain the types of process strategies. So this is the first part, process strategies. Then the second part, we go to the layout decision. To define the layout and layout decision, what are the importance of layout, factors that influence layout, types of layout, and finally we are going to look at the analysis of product layout. So from here, it involves the theory uh, for the second part of this chapter, and only this one is calculation. First, let's define what is process strategy. It is an approach used by an organization to transform the inputs into outputs. So we go back to the definition of operations management, which consists of inputs, transformation process, and the outputs over here, and feedback we have down here. So we are now focusing on the transformation process here, that refers to process strategy. So the approach or the ways used by an organization to transform the input to get the output, we call it as process strategy. There are four types of process strategies that we are going to learn in this chapter. The first one is process focus. Second is repetitive focus. Next is product focus, and the last one is mass customization. So we are going to look at the characteristics of each of these process strategy. Okay, the first type of process strategy is called as process focus strategy. So we are now going to see what is meant by process focus strategy. So it is a strategy where production facilities such as equipment, work centers, materials, and workers are organized around specific activities or processes. So in order to understand each type of process strategy, we are going to look at how facilities are arranged. Kita akan tengok macam mana facilities tu disusun. So cara facilities tu disusun menentukan jenis-jenis proses. So what is meant by facilities? Okay, production facilities. So facilities here include equipment, work centers, materials, and workers. There are actually more than this, but to make it easier to understand, you just take facilities as equipment, work centers, materials, and workers. So process focus strategy says that when facilities are organized around specific activities or processes, it is called as process focus strategy. So process focus strategy is where facilities here are organized according to the specific activity. Specific activity here means all the activities that the organization has. So each of the activity will have its own facility. Okay, organisation yang mempunyai yang ingin melakukan tugas ataupun functions dalam organisation dia, macam mana dia letakkan worker, material, equipment and everything, it is at the specific activity. Okay, for example, a printing company. So printing company has a binding section or binding job, photostating job, laminating job. So these are called as activities. Ini dipanggil activities. Okay, so facilities for binding. So binding function will have its own facilities such as the workers, equipment, and materials and work centers. Same goes to photostating, will have its own facilities, and laminating job or laminating function will have its own facilities. So machine untuk binding akan ada di sini. Worker untuk buat binding pun ada di sini. Raw material to do binding function is also over here, placed over here at this job activity. So same goes to photostating, dia ada worker dia sendiri, raw material dia sendiri, machine and equipment dia sendiri. Okay, dia diasingkan from one activity to another activity. So printing company is the best example of process focus strategy. Okay, what are the characteristics of a process strategist or process focused strategy? So the company using process focused strategy is using general purpose equipment. So general purpose equipment is where an equipment is having one generic purpose. Generic purpose ni maksudnya purpose yang umum. And that equipment can be used to produce many things, such as printing company. Okay, a printing company, a printing machine, for example, can be used to print magazines, pamphlets, newsletters, reports, and everything. So a printing company is called as a general purpose equipment, where the general purpose or the general function of printing machine is just to print. And it can be used to print so many items, so many types of uh, printed documents, such as magazines and all. So that is general purpose. So the opposite of general purpose is specific purpose lah. And process focused strategy is suitable for customized product. So what is meant by customized product? It is the product where the customer comes and order first before the production starts. Customized product ni adalah produk yang mana customer datang, tentukan produk yang macam mana dia nak, then barulah company akan start buat production. Okay, for example, baju. Okay, baju kurung, let's say. So you go to the tailor, and you as a customer, you specify first to the tailor, I want this kind of baju, baju kebaya, baju kurung, I want tangan to be 3/4 and whatsoever. You specify, you as a customer, you specify. So you customize the product that you want. So that is called as customized product. So the opposite of customized is standardized product. So printing ataupun printed documents or printing company is producing customized product where customers come and specify first what they want from the printing company. Okay, for example, customer A comes, want to print annual report. Customer B comes to print a magazine. Customer C comes to print newsletters. Customer D comes to print banners. So customer comes and say what they want of a product. So that is customized. So company will only start processing the product once the customers come and order. So the next characteristic of a process focused strategy is the company is using a skilled personnel, pekerja yang berkemahiran tinggi. Okay, for example, in order to do printing, to print magazine requires one set of skill. To print banners requires another skill. So the worker doing that printing job must have a high skill lah. Okay. High product variety but low volume. High product variety here means the company using process focused strategy, in the end the company produce a lot of types of product. Output yang dikeluarkan tu mempunyai banyak jenis. For example, magazines. Printing magazine, so the output is magazine. Newsletters, banners, reports, assignments. So these are called as the variety of products produced by using one general purpose equipment. But low volume. Low volume ni maksudnya quantity yang sedikit. So the company using process focused strategy will produce a lot of variety of product, but the company can only process a low quantity. Okay, so kalau customer A comes to print magazine, so when the customer place about 100 units of order, so that can be processed lah, because of it does not involve a high volume of output. Jumble production flow. Jumble here means not according to sequence. That is jumble. Okay, maksudnya proses flow dalam company ni akan jadi tidak teratur. Because why? Because it depends on customers' order, because the company only produce customized product. Okay, for example, customer A comes want to print what is this? Newsletter. So a specific process involved to produce newsletter. So for customer A who order the newsletter to be printed, there will be process flow number 1 to be used. A student comes to print an assignment. So that is another process flow to be followed in order to print an assignment. So to print a newsletter and to print the assignment, these two products do not have the same production process. So the production flow will be jumbled up. Okay, tak akan tersusun. Low equipment usage, equipment tadi yang point number 1 ni is not fully utilized. Okay, so the printing machine to print the newsletter, so that that function print newsletter is how to say, not fully utilized, because not many customers come to print newsletter, because there are many customers come with different orders. So equipment tu tidak digunakan sepenuhnya untuk specific function dia. And high variable cost per unit. So variable cost per unit ni here it happens because of customers come with different orders. Okay, in order to print newsletter, different raw materials. Variable cost is more related to the raw material cost. Okay, raw material cost. Types of paper, let's say, types of ink. To print newsletter, only 2 customers come, let's say. So company will have to buy only a little of raw materials to print newsletter. So when the company buy less of raw materials, definitely the variable cost will be high compared to buying in bulk. To print assignments, different types of paper needed, different types of ink needed, and so on. So not many customers come to print assignments, so company will have to buy only a little of raw materials related to assignments printing. So it will result in high variable costs. Okay, as you can see from here, this is where we can see the jumble production process or jumble production flow. Okay, let's say customer A comes to order product 1. Okay, let's say the magazine. So the company will process, will decide the process flow for the magazine production or magazine printing. That is product 1. So process number 1 will go to A, step number 2 to go to B, then to go to D, E, F, what else? Okay, A, B, D, and product 1 will be produced here, not going through E and F. Okay, so that is the process flow for producing product 1. Let's see product 2. Let's say product 2 is to produce or to print the assignments. The process flow involved first is D. Okay, from D going to E, and from E maybe going to F. Okay, from F maybe going to C. Moment tak ada arrow kat sini then product 2 will be produced over here. You see, 2 products ordered by customers, 2 different products ordered by customers will go through different production process or production flow. So this is what we call as jumble production flow. Okay, the second type of process strategy is called as repetitive focus strategy. So what is meant by this type of strategy? It is a strategy where production facilities are organized as assembly line. So facilities here are organized in assembly line. So what is an assembly line? So normally an assembly line is like this. Okay, line yang digunakan untuk pemasangan komponen before the output is produced. That is called as assembly line. So on the assembly line, there are a few workstations. We call as workstations. AWS stands for workstation. So on this assembly line, we'll have the facilities to process the inputs to get the output. So input will go over here into the assembly line, and finally output will be produced here, because we are now focusing on the process ni. So this is repetitive focus strategy where facilities here are arranged or organized on the assembly line or as assembly line. So the best example that we can say using repetitive focus strategy is this is just an assumption. We have to go and observe from the company ourselves, then we know whether the company is using repetitive focus strategy or not. Let's say in producing cars, okay, kereta. Okay, what are the processes involved in order to produce cars? First is to maybe assemble the engine. Okay, kita nak pasang engine, assembling, assemble engine. Then the second step is to assemble the tires. Next step is to assemble all the doors and accessories. And finally, a complete car is produced here. Okay, so in order to assemble the engine, untuk memasang engine yang berada di workstation number 1 on this assembly line, so facilities required to do an engine assembling is over here. So pekerja untuk buat engine assembly akan ada di sini. Machine and equipment for engine assembling will be here. Same goes to the raw material needed for assembling the engine will be over here. So facilities kat sini, which covers all this, are specifically placed at engine assembling section sahaja. Okay. Then for the tires assembly, facilities to do tire assembling will be placed over here at the second workstation, still on the same assembly line. So workers, machines, equipment, raw materials needed to assemble the tires will be placed over here. Same goes to facilities to assemble doors and accessories are placed in the next workstation. Okay. But what happens here on the assembly line is that the process flow is according to sequence. Maksudnya, untuk menjalankan proses to produce the car or the output over here, the company will follow the specific flow of sequence on the assembly line. So workstation number 1 here will be the first one to do engine assembly. So this is the first process. Second process is to assemble the tire. Once the tire have been assembled, then it will be passed to the next workstation to assemble the door, workstation number 3. And after that, the complete ataupun the finished product will be produced over here. Okay, so that is the difference between repetitive focus and process focus. So what are the characteristics of repetitive focus? It combines modules. Modules here means components ataupun parts. Okay. So repetitive focus is where what the company is doing on the assembly line is to combine the modules. So modul ni adalah parts ataupun components yang telah disiapkan sebelumnya. Okay. So such as engine. Engine ni adalah satu modul. Tires, one module. Doors, accessories, another modules. So what the company is doing on the assembly line here is to combine. Combine here means mencantumkan module. Cantumkan engine and make it as one. Cantum tires and make it as one. Cantumkan doors and make it as one. So kerja yang dibuat hanyalah combine modules on the workstation. It is less flexible but more efficient. Less flexible here means that the product produced has less variety. Produk yang dikeluarkan di ujung ni tidak mempunyai banyak variety. Why? Because of the product has been specified what to produce. Okay, for example, car. There are two types of car has been decided to be produced. One is automatic car, another one is manual car. So this is called as less flexible ataupun less variety of output. Maksudnya company dah decide dah. To use the assembly line here, only two types of car will be produced. Manual car and also automatic car. So the process of combining the modules here will be done only to produce these two types of car. But more efficient here means the production flow will be smooth, lancar. Kenapa lancar? Because work is done on the assembly line and the sequence is fixed. Turutan production flow tu dah ditentukan. So that's why it is smooth. From workstation 1, we'll go to workstation 2, then go to workstation 3, then finally output will be produced. Okay, repetitive focus strategy is only suitable for semi-customized output. I don't normally use as semi-customized. I normally call it as standardized product. Okay, standardized. Produk yang dah di-standardkan. Apa produk yang dah di-standardkan? Standardized, okay. So, automatic and manual car, these are the standardized product. Maksudnya, ciri-ciri produk tu dah ada di situ. So, when the company decides, our assembly line is to produce only two types of car, at automatic and manual. So, the workers only assemble the modules just to produce automatic and manual. So, the products are already standard. Produk tu dah ada ciri-ciri yang tertentu. And because of the product has specific standards to be produced, and there is the right sequence to be followed, and the company, because of that, the company requires less skilled personnel. Personnel ni maksudnya workers. Okay, workers yang diperlukan tidak perlu mempunyai kemahiran yang tinggi. Why? Because of it is a repetitive job over here. To assemble the engine, the worker is trained one time or two times, then that worker will do the job over and over again. So, tak perlu mempunyai skill yang tinggi kerana kerja tu adalah kerja yang berulang-ulang dilakukan. Okay. So, the worker will learn from time to time how to assemble the engine. So, if the worker is working for 10 years, so the 10 years of working duration, the worker is doing the same thing. So, dia tak perlukan kemahiran yang tinggi. Okay, the third type of process strategy is product focused strategy. So what is meant by this type of strategy? It is a process strategy that organizes the facilities by product. Very simple. So product focused strategy is where the company organize their facilities according to product, and normally this product focused strategy is also using assembly line. Okay, they are still using, the company is still using assembly line, but the assembly line here is organized according to product. Okay, for example, the company producing shoes. Okay, so there are a lot of types of shoes. Sport shoes. Okay, the company producing sport shoes. The same company also producing high heels. Okay, high heels. And also the company is producing sandals. Let's say sandals. Okay, so what the company is having or arranging their facilities is that for the sport shoes product, to produce sport shoes, the company will have one specific assembly line and with its own facilities just to produce the sport shoes. To produce high heels, the company will create another assembly line with its own facilities just to produce high heels. And to produce sandals, the company will create another assembly line just to produce sandals. So facilities are placed on the assembly line to produce specific type of product. So let's say to produce sport shoes require a few processes such as designing the shoes. What else? Cutting the shoes. For example, cutting, sewing the shoes, menjahit, printing the shoes, katalah printing, and finally is packaging. So specific facilities will be placed over here for the design. Okay, to design the sport shoes, facilities such as workers, equipment, raw materials will be placed here just to do design job. To cut the shoes, specific facilities are placed on the second workstation on this assembly line just to do cutting job. Sewing job, there is another facility such as workers, equipment, machines, raw materials just to do sewing. Same goes to printing, and lastly is packaging. Specific facilities are placed over here. Okay, let's say to produce high heels, the same process is followed. Design, cutting, sewing, printing, and packaging. Proses yang sama, but the company creates a specific or separate assembly line just to produce these specific shoes. So, facilities to design hills will be placed over here. To do cutting job for hills will be placed over here. Same goes to other process. And let's say to produce sandals also involve the same process. Design, cutting, sewing, printing and packaging. Then the company will place another facilities on this assembly line to produce sandals. So what we can see from here, there are a lot of redundant facilities. Redundant ni yang bertindan lah. Facilities yang bertindan because of they are having the same job process but on different assembly lines. So that is for product facilities, product focus strategy. Why the company is doing so? Because of the company want to focus on that specific product to produce. So what are the characteristics of product focus strategy? The company produce high volume. So product focus strategy is only suitable for a company that produce a high unit or quantity of product. So let's say company produce 50,000 units of sport shoes. 5,000 lah. 5,000 units of sport shoes in one day. 3,000 sport shoes, heels in one day. And sandals, 7,000 units of sport shoes, sandals in one day. Then the company should use product focus strategy because product focus strategy ni hanya sesuai digunakan bila company keluarkan kuantiti yang banyak. But low product variety because of only product focus strategy is only suitable when the company has a few types of product. Kalau company mempunyai banyak sangat produk, tak bersesuaian pakai product focus strategy because it will incur a high cost because of redundant facilities. More specialized equipment is used. To do design job for sport shoes, there is specific machine just to do the design for sport shoes. Maksudnya company ni kena beli mesin yang khusus untuk design sport shoes sahaja. Mesin untuk design high heels, mesin yang lain pula. Mesin untuk design sandals adalah mesin yang lain pula. So that is called as specialized equipment. Equipment that is having a specific function for that job process only. Long continuous production runs which enable process efficiency. So you just focus on process efficiency. Process will be very smooth. Kenapa smooth? Because of there is separate and specific assembly line to produce one particular product. High fixed cost but low variable cost. So because of the company using product focus strategy, the fixed cost is high because of a lot of similar machines are purchased. To design machine is purchased for sport shoes. The design machine is purchased for high heels. The design machine is purchased for sandals. So the same, not actually the same lah. Okay. 3 design machines must be purchased for 3 different types of products. So that involves a very high cost. Tu baru design machine. Not we are not taking into consideration the cutting machine, sewing machine and all other machines lagi. Less skill labor. Labor yang diperlukan tidak perlu berkemahiran tinggi because of the company just train the worker one time, then the worker can actually use the machine to produce the product or to do the process. Why? Because the worker will keep doing the same job over and over again. And when the company use process focus strategy, the type of product suitable is standardized product. Produk yang dah di-standardkan. Okay, sport shoes. Sport shoes ni maksudnya company dah siapkan ciri-ciri yang macam mana sport shoes yang nak dikeluarkan. Then the company start production. Heels. What type of heels to be produced? 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches. Itu dah ditetapkan sebelum production berjalan. So that is called as standardized product. As for the sandals, pun dah ditetapkan ciri-ciri dia. Then only production starts. Itu kita panggil dia standardized product. Okay, and the last type of process strategy, we call it as mass customization strategy. So what is this? This is a bit unique strategy because this strategy is not defined as how facilities are organized or arranged. So mass customization strategy is a strategy that combines both process and product focus strategy. So mass customization is an output or a combination of process and product focus strategy. So as we understood, process focus strategy is a strategy that where facilities are organized according to specific activity. Facilities ni berada di specific activity, such as printing company tadi. For printing job, so facilities will be here. For laminating job, then facilities will be placed here. For binding job, then facilities will be placed here. So there is no assembly line. Okay. Wherever the job functions are, then the facilities will be together at that job functions. This is called as process focus strategy. Whereas the product focus strategy, product focus strategy is where the company arrange the facilities in assembly line and by product. Okay, we just covered just now. Product A, product 1, product 2 will be specific assembly line for each type of product. So mass customization is the combination of these two. So let's see how. Okay, what are the characteristics of process focused mass customization? First characteristic is large quantity, large variety of product. Okay, if the company produce large quantity and large variety of product, okay, process focus tadi ingat, company produce a lot of variety but very low quantity. Low quantity. So process strategy hanya sesuai kalau company produce a lot of variety, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 types of product, but only low quantity demanded by customers, process strategy is suitable. But if customer comes with large quantities and large variety of products, then the company will have to change the process strategy to mass customization. Okay, for example, customer comes to print 100,000 units of magazine. Customer ni datang nak print 100,000 unit magazine. Tadi proses fokus saya kata 400 units. So 400 is manageable if the company use process focus strategy. But when the customer comes with a lot of quantity and to do printing of magazine, then the company cannot use process focus strategy anymore. The company needs to use mass customization strategy. So how to process 100,000 units of magazine to be printed, the company cannot process over here. Okay, katalah ini susunan asal dalam company printing and the company wants to process this 100,000. So this 100,000 tak boleh diproses dalam existing company susunan yang company ada sekarang ni. So what the company has to do is to transform the existing arrangement of facilities into assembly line. So that's why it is called as a combination of product focus and process focus. So sekarang magazine must be produced over here. So to produce magazine, let's say first printing job is needed, and then scanning is needed, katalah scanning, and lastly is binding is needed. So these are the processes involved in order to lastly is packaging. In order to produce magazine. Katalah ini proses yang diperlukan. Printing first, then scanning the magazine, let's say, to do editing, and then binding, and lastly is packaging. So to process 100,000, then facilities for printing will be transferred over here. So printing punya function ni, facilities ni, the company will transfer to this assembly line. So assembly line ni hanyalah temporary sahaja. Kenapa temporary? Because of it is created to process a large quantity. So ada tak lagi facilities for printing in the existing company? Yes, masih ada. Only some of the facilities are transferred ataupun lends are borrowed and transferred over here. Sebahagian daripada facilities ni ditransfer ke sini dan sebahagian lagi dikekalkan di existing company to process low quantity of demand from other customers. Scanning. Scanning facilities. Some of scanning facilities will be transferred over here. And some of binding facilities will be transferred over here, and some of packaging facilities will be transferred here. And the function of this assembly line is only to process that 100,000 units of magazine printing. So when other customer comes to order 100 units to be printed, customer lain, customer Y, then order from customer Y can be processed as well. And order from customer yang nak 100,000 magazine pun boleh diproses juga. It's just that yang kuantiti banyak ni dia buat di tempat lain. Because it involves a high quantity, the company does not want to interrupt the existing production process over here. So kuantiti sedikit diproses dalam company, sedia ada. Company kuantiti yang banyak akan di-create another a temporary assembly line. So this is a combination of product focus and process focus. So what happens if the company applies mass customization? The production flow will be efficient. So as we understood earlier, efficient here means smooth. And mass customization is only suitable for customized product. Magazine is called as customized product because customer datang dan specify jenis magazine macam mana dia nak, kertas yang macam mana dia nak, size of the magazine, how many pages and all, what kind of pictures, black and white, colored and whatsoever, customers will come and specify. So that is what we call as customized product. So company cannot start the production flow before customers come and specify. Maksudnya customer datang dulu. Datang dan bagi tahu apa yang dia nak from that product to be processed, barulah proses tu akan berjalan. That is for customized. Standardized tadi, customer tak datang specify. Company decides what type of product to be produced, then production starts. Customers come later only to buy and choose what they want. So for mass customization, the next characteristic is complex planning and scheduling to accommodate customers' order. So planning untuk nak process a large quantity of order here will be very complex. Complex here means very hard and very difficult. Okay, these are the comparisons of each of the process strategy in terms of definition. Definition here is how facilities are arranged, how outputs are in terms of output variety, whether high or low variety. In terms of the smoothness of production process, we call it as efficiency. In terms of cost, skill of labor, and types of products. So please try to memorize this table in order to differentiate each of the process strategy. So this is the end of the first part of this chapter. Then we move on to the next part, that is layout, facility layout. Okay, the second part of this chapter is on the facility layout. So let's define what is facility layout. So facility in this chapter, it is referring to the building itself. Okay, bangunan tersebut or the factory, or the office. Okay, facility layout refers to the physical location of the various departments, units, workstation, and equipment within the premises of a facility. Okay, it is a process by which the placement of departments, work groups within departments, workstation, and machines within a facility is determined. So basically, layout is the arrangement of facilities, susunan facility yang berada dalam organisation. Okay, susunan here means it is like a layout of something, a layout of an organisation. Over here is the receptionist. Okay, reception. Over here is meeting room. Over here is toilet. Over here is cafe. All these in the middle, there are various departments. Okay, department 1, department 2, department 3, and department 4. So this is actually layout, susunan everything dalam organisation. Okay, so that is layout. Why layout is important? Because of higher utilization of space. So a good layout will cause ataupun enables the organisation to fully utilize their space. So dengan susunan yang baik, organisation dapat menggunakan ruang yang ada sepenuhnya. So if the organisation does not arrange their facilities nicely and properly, then the space is not fully utilized. Second importance is reduce bottlenecks in moving people and material. Bottlenecks here means blockage, problem. Okay, akan ada difficulty of moving or movement when the layout is not a good layout. If the company does not properly arrange their facilities, then it is so hard for the employees and material to move. Third importance is improve employees' morale and safer working condition. A good layout can make employees happy to work. That is employees' morale. And safer working condition or a properly arranged facilities, especially the machines, will produce a safer working place. Mesin yang disusun dengan baik di tempat yang betul dan tempat kerja itu akan menjadi tempat yang selamat. Then the next importance is efficient use of labor. Labor here means workers. So workers' time can be fully utilized. So that is how we understand efficient use of labor. If facilities are properly arranged, machines are located at the right place, workers' place is also located at the right position, then the workers or the laborers do not have to move a lot. So their time can be fully utilized. If the machines are located so far away from the workers, then it is called as a bad layout. So because of that, workers have to move a lot and wastage of time happens. Okay, ataupun workers will waste a lot of their time to move rather than to do their job. It can also improve customer and vendor interaction. So the right location of facilities will ease the customers and also suppliers to come and deal with the companies and employees. Okay, so the company should provide an appropriate section for the customers to come and also for the suppliers to come and meet with the organization. Reduce material handling cost. Reduce material handling cost meaning that moving the material over okay, in the organization, the movement of the materials. Okay, so if the materials are properly placed at the right place closer to the machine, then the materials will not have to be moved a lot, and then cost of keeping the material will be lower. Okay, next, what are the factors that influence layout? Macam mana company nak susun facilities dalam organisation is influenced by these factors. So the company must consider these factors first before decide the layout that they should have in their organisation. So nak susun meeting room on the left side or on the right side, departments in the middle or on the right side, right side and whatsoever, the company must consider these factors first. The first is type of product. Okay, type of product here, it depends on it means the layout that the company should choose depends on what type of output the company produce, whether it is goods or services. Okay, company producing goods might choose another layout. The company producing services might decide on another type of layout. So that is called as types of product. Other than that, the types of product also can be understood in terms of the company producing standardized or customized product. So when the company produce standardized product, mungkin the layout is layout A. If the company produce customized product or standardized customized product, then maybe layout B is suitable. So nak menentukan susunan tu bergantung kepada customized ataupun standardized product as well. Second factor to be considered is nature of the product. Okay. Nature of the product here can be understood in terms of small and bulky products. If the company produce small products, maybe they can just locate their machine somewhere else, not just close to the to the products. Okay, if the company produce heavy products, then maybe the machine should be at one particular place. Okay, so small and big refers to the nature of the product. Volume of production refers to the quantity of production made by the company. If the company produce low quantity of products, maybe the company can have like a scattered facility arrangement. Okay, machine printing ada di depan, photostating machine ada di belakang, scanning machine is in the middle, and like that. So that is called as volume of production, when the company only accept orders about 100 units of product to be processed. On the other hand, if the company produce a high quantity of product, let's say in one day the company produce 5,000 units of shoes, then maybe the arrangement of facilities will be in assembly line. So assembly line must be at that one particular place only. Next is production process. Production process here refers to the process strategy that we covered just now. Okay, so the layout that the company must choose is depending on the types of process that the company is applying. So for a printing company that is using a process focused strategy, so maybe layout A is the best to be used by that particular company or printing company. Okay, for the company producing shoes that is using an assembly line or assembly lines and using product layout, a product strategy, product focus strategy, then maybe layout B is the best to be used by this shoes company. So bergantung pada jenis-jenis proses yang company itu gunakan. So let's say your company is using mass customization strategy, where your company produce large quantity of customized product, then maybe layout C is the best for your company. So that is how we consider before we decide the type of layout. So other factors you can read from the textbook. Here there are 3 types of layout that we are going to learn for this chapter. The first one is product layout. Second is process-oriented layout, or we call it as process layout. And the last one is fixed position layout. So please bear in mind this part, especially the types of layout here is similar to the one that we covered just now. That is on the types of process strategy. So product layout here is similar to the product focus strategy. Process layout is similar to process focus strategy, and fixed position layout is not similar to any types of strategy. So I'll just go briefly on product layout, process layout, and some explanation on fixed position layout. So first, let's see what is meant by product layout. So it refers to a production system where the workstations and equipment are located along the production line as with assembly line. As with here is like as in assembly lines lah. Okay, when we see the word workstations and equipment here, they are referring to facilities. Okay, we covered this in the types of process strategy just now. So the definition of the layout is also similar to the definition of process strategy, where it is referring to the arrangement of facilities. How an organization arranges or arrange their facilities, such as the workstations, equipment, material, workers, that is referring to the layout. Bagaimana susunan facility ini, itu menentukan jenis-jenis layout. So product layout is where facilities such as the workstation and equipment are arranged in assembly line. So assembly line we covered earlier in the types of strategy. This is an assembly line where the workstations are on the assembly line. So product layout is where facilities are arranged this way. Okay, ini product layout. Facilities berada di atas assembly line. And the function of assembly line is to assemble the components or assemble the parts. And this product layout is also called as flow shop layout. It groups different workstations together according to the types of layout. So product layout is where organization come up with a few assembly lines to produce one particular product. So just now earlier in the product focus strategy, the company created a few different assembly lines to produce 3 different shoes: sport shoes, heels, and also sandals. Okay, so this is what we call as product layout. So facilities ni disusun di atas assembly line dan setiap assembly line ni mewakili satu-satu jenis produk yang tertentu. Satu saja produk tertentu. So to use the product layout, the total work to be performed must be divisible to smaller tasks that can be assigned to each workstation. So one big task that is to produce shoes. So to produce shoes is one big task, and the task here must be divided or divisible into a few smaller tasks, and each smaller task here must be placed on each of the workstation on the assembly line. So such as to design the shoes, to cut the shoes, to sew the shoes, to print the shoes, and so on. So these are called as smaller tasks that is to produce shoes. So product layout has a few advantages and disadvantages. Let's go through some of the advantages first. It has low variable cost per unit. Why? Because of the product that is produced is a standardized product where the company create a few assembly lines. Shoes is called as standardized product where the company come up with the criteria and characteristics of the shoes, then starts the production later. So the company will buy the raw material in bulk to produce shoes. Okay, so shoes may require the same or similar raw materials in the form of maybe needles, threads, ataupun some of the materials tu lah. Okay, so they buy in bulk, so it will reduce the variable cost. Reduce work in progress inventory. So what is work in progress? Work in progress here means the work that has to be that has to wait over here before it is transferred to the next workstation. So by using product layout, then what we can say is that there will be less work in progress to wait for their turn to go to the next workstation. So let's say the first workstation is to design the shoes. Okay, once the workers have designed the shoes using the raw material and the equipment, the worker will definitely and automatically pass the design shoes ataupun shoes that have been designed to the next workstation to be cut. So maksudnya tak ada stok yang menunggu di sini untuk dipaskan kepada workstation seterusnya. If ada pun sedikit sahaja. Okay, and workers over here in the next workstation will use their material, will use their machines and equipment to cut the shoes, and once they are done, they will automatically pass to the next workstation. So shoes to be cut here will be lesser. So sebab tu dia kata reduce work in progress. Maksudnya pekerja tu akan terus buat, dia tak akan tunggu. Once the shoes have been cut, then they will pass to the next workstation, that is to what is the next process, to sew the shoes, untuk menjahit shoes tu. So workers will use their equipment and material to sew the shoes, and they will automatically pass to the next workstation. So stok yang menunggu untuk dipas tu akan menjadi kurang. Stok tu kita panggil work in progress. Why kurang? Because the workers keep doing their job over and over again, they never stop. So the stock will keep reducing. Optimum space utilization. So by creating workstations, lesser space is used. And efficient and smooth production flow. By doing this way or using assembly line, the sequence of production is there, or we can see clearly the sequence. Then there will be no problem in the production flow. It will be very smooth. However, it has some disadvantages. High volume is required. High volume here is that the company that wants to use product layout ataupun menggunakan assembly line macam ni, the company must produce high quantity of product. So shoes, let's say the company wants to produce sport shoes. Product layout can only be used if the company produce a high quantity. Let's say 5,000 units a day, 3,000 units a day. So that is called as high volume or high quantity. If the company only produce 50 units a day, then product layout is not suitable to be used because it may incur a higher cost. Okay, lack of flexibility. Lack of flexibility here means variety of output is lesser. Okay, kepelbagaian produk yang dikeluarkan di hujung tu tak banyak lah. Okay, so in this case, just now in the earlier example, I gave you only 3 types of shoes. So that is called as lack of flexibility. Tak banyak variety of product because product layout analysis can only be used when the company produce only a few types of product. Okay. Work stoppage at any point ties up the whole operation. It means here, if there is any problem in the workstation here, it will definitely affect other workstation. So kalau ada gangguan ataupun work stoppage at design workstation, and other workstations will be affected. That is the meaning. Okay, next layout is process-oriented layout or process layout. The definition given here is the arrangement of equipment and facilities according to their functions to improve efficiency. So arrangement of equipment and facilities according to function, not in assembly line. So that is the difference. Tadi product layout is where the facilities are arranged in assembly line. So process layout is where facilities are arranged in their functions. There is an assembly of similar operations or similar machinery in each department. Similar equipment or functions are grouped together, and it is called as a job shop layout or layout by function. So process layout can be seen clearly in a printing company where, let's say, this is a printing company. How does a printing company arrange their facilities? So let's say in a printing company, as I said earlier in the previous example, has a photostating section or photostating function, laminating function, binding function, printing function, scanning function. This is a large and very big printing company. A small printing company, you cannot see this kind of layout lah. Okay, so Serumpun Niaga at Bujang, you cannot see this kind of layout. So for the photostating section over there, over here, so facilities such as the equipment, the workers, the raw materials will be placed over here just to do photostating job. For laminating section, laminating, tugas untuk buat laminating, then a specific facility such as equipment, workers, machines, raw material will be placed here just to do laminating function. Same goes to binding, scanning, and also printing over here. You can see clearly the difference between process layout and product layout. Process layout, there is no workstation, there is no assembly line. Tak ada turutan macam ni. Tak ada. Okay. So each job function is placed everywhere. They are scattered. Okay. Boleh jadi photostating is at the back over here pun boleh. And printing is in front over here. As long as every job function in the organization is there and it has its own facility, so the arrangement we call it as process layout. Cara susunan tu kita panggil dia process layout. So as you can see in UiTM, it's also using process layout where you can see that HEA is at one place. And HEA has its own facilities such as the computers, the equipment, their own workers, their own raw materials. HEP is another job function in UiTM. Also, they have their own facilities over there. Unit Sukan, Polis Bantuan, Unit College, they are scattered in UiTM, but each and every unit or every department there, they have their own facilities. So there is no assembly line in UiTM. So UiTM is also the best example that is using process layout. Okay, you can see from this diagram, this company is also using process-oriented layout or process layout. Job planning is one job function in the organization. So facilities for job planning will be placed over here. Fabrication is another job function. The facilities are over here. Assembly is another job function, and facilities are placed over here. Same goes to shipping, testing, wiring, pattern shop, and also every job function in the organization will have its own facility over here. So facility, bila kata facility, it refers to equipment, workers, raw materials, machines, and everything. Okay, so what are the benefits or advantages of process layout? First, in terms of flexibility. So as I said earlier, flexibility in this chapter, it refers to the product variety to be produced by the company. So the company using process-oriented layout, the company here produced a lot of variety of products in the end, such as the company printed magazines, newsletter, assignments of the students, banners, and also because it depends on the customer's order, so the variety of product will be very large lah. Maksudnya there are high variety of outputs produced by the company. So that refers to flexibility, high flexibility over here. In terms of cost, it reduces cost. Why? Because of the company is only using general purpose equipment. So it is less costly to purchase compared to specialized equipment. So process layout is using general purpose equipment, as I mentioned earlier in process focus strategy, such as printing. Okay, printing equipment. Printing is considered as general purpose equipment because it can print many things. So it has one general purpose, that is to print. So the same printing machine can be used to print magazines, newsletters, assignments, and also banners. The difference is only in terms of the raw materials used. Okay, so buying one general purpose equipment can be used to print so many outputs over here, so that is less costly. And motivation for employees. Employees will have high motivation. Why? Because of they are able to perform variety of tasks on multiple machines. It is not actually a few machines. It can be the same machines. No, multiple machines here refers to printing machines, laminating machines, binding machines, scanning machines. So employees are not only using one machine. Employees must have a lot of skills to use all the types of machines in the printing company. So it reduces boredom. Employee ni takkan rasa bosan lah. However, the drawbacks ataupun the disadvantages of process layout is low equipment utilization. Low equipment utilization ni maksudnya mesin tu tidak digunakan sepenuhnya. So printing machine. So one printing machine has all these printing functions to print magazine, newsletter, assignments, and banners, but not all customers come to print all these outputs. Okay, maybe out of 10 customers, 3 comes to print the magazines, ataupun 3 come to print the assignments. Only students are the customers, so students come to print the assignments. So only printing the assignments is the most used printing function. So other function to print banners, tak banyak customer datang untuk print banner, so that results in low equipment utilization in the form of printing the banner. High per unit cost. So cost per unit will be high because of lower production volume. Lower production volume here refers to the quantity of output produced by the company is less. So process layout can only be used when the company produce low quantity of output. So in the end, the company will have to buy lesser raw materials, will result in high unit cost. Confusion, constantly changing schedules and routings, making juggling process requirements more difficult. So confusion here is because of there is no specific sequence to follow in order to process the customer's order for the production flow, employees will get confused. Okay, customer 1 comes to print the magazine, customer 2 comes to print the assignments, customer 3 comes to print the banners. So the production flow might be different for each of the type of output here. So it will cause confusions to the employees on how to handle all these customers order. Okay, the next or the last type of layout is, we call it as fixed position layout. This has not been covered earlier in the types of process strategy. So what is fixed position layout? It is typical of project. It means here is that fixed position layout is only suitable to be used if the company has a special project to be completed. So kalau company tu ada specific ataupun special project untuk disiapkan, then the best layout to be used is fixed position layout. Okay. Why? Because projects, the project is where the product produced is too fragile, bulky and heavy to move. So project ni adalah yang mana yang melibatkan output yang besar dan berat dan tidak mudah untuk dia dipindahkan dari satu tempat ke satu tempat. So in this layout, the product remains immobile for the entire manufacturing cycle. So for this layout, fixed position layout, the product here means the output. The output is actually the project itself. So the project remains immobile, tidak bergerak, until all the manufacturing process has been completed. So the output is placed ataupun is located at that place from the very beginning of the stage until end of the production stage. So resources such as personnel here is workers, supplies and equipment are brought to the site. So all the inputs will come to the place where the project is being manufactured and completed. So the product will be assembled rather than being moved through the assembly line or a set of assembly stations. So what this point is saying is that there is no assembly line, there is no assembly station or workstations. So as you can see in this picture, let's say this company has one project to be completed here. So this is the project. For example, your company wants to build a bridge. Okay, bridge. So bridge here is your company's special project. So to build a bridge, let's say from Semeling to Balik Pulau. This is your company's project, a new bridge from Semeling to Balik Pulau, let's say. So you start your project in Semeling. So your project site will be in Semeling. So what will happen to the resources in terms of supplies, workers, human resources, workers, energy, all other supplies, machines, equipment, raw materials, all these resources will go to the project site. So resources ni akan bergerak ke tempat project tersebut. So the project, pembangunan, construction semua akan bermula di Semeling, let's say. So this is where the project is located. So there is no assembly line. So fixed position layout is actually, fixed here refers to the immobility of the output. Okay, output tu tidak bergerak, berada di situ. So it is a temporary layout just to finish one particular project. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of fixed position layout? First is small investment in the layout. So the company does not have to create the layout in their organization. So they don't have to invest a lot lah in the layout. Okay, to create a layout, especially the facilities to be placed in every section on the assembly line, so that that will cost a lot of money. Okay, adjustment can always be made. So maksudnya perubahan tu sentiasa boleh dibuat. Perubahan dari segi apa? In terms of the resources to be used, in terms of time planning and so on. So that is adjustment. Reduce handling and assembly of major components. So because of assembly lines are not involved here, so it will reduce handling of components. Okay, dia akan kurangkan how to handle all the components needed to produce the project. So the disadvantage is little storage space. Storage space is very little. Administrative burden is higher because of the resources go to the place where the project is being constructed and completed. So the company has to do a lot of administration jobs, such as to instruct the workers to go over there, to deal with the suppliers, to send the raw materials and all. and definitely it involves high capital investment, especially the machines to go and to be placed ataupun to go to the project site. Okay, that's all for the theory part, and next we go to the analysis or calculation part, which will be covered in class. Thank you.